Hello and welcome to this episode of Hampton Roads Business Live. My name is Rory Graham and I'm your host, and today we have the pleasure of having with us Mike Vernon from Vent and Save in Virginia Beach. Welcome. I'm glad you took time to come out on this rainy day.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I'm glad to be here.
This is a very interesting topic because for me anyway, because I have no clue as to anything about what we're going to talk about. And why don't you just start off, go ahead and give us an overview of what is Vent and Save.
Well, Vent and Save is a company that helps property owners reduce the cost of flood insurance by making modifications to their property that are approved by FEMA.
Okay. And FEMA is the one that provides the flood insurance, right?
Well, the National Flood Insurance Program is, which is overseen by FEMA.
But it's overseen by FEMA. That's
correct.
What I meant, yeah. Okay, and there's a concern about what's going on nationally with the rates and things because the government's making some changes. You want to tell us about that?
Well, basically right now FEMA sits in a position where they're $24 billion upside down, or the flooding program is $24 billion upside down. And that's happened primarily for two reasons.
It's a government agency for one.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is the government. But those two reasons are the government has been subsidizing homes that are in high-risk flood zones for quite some time. And now they're asking those homeowners that have been subsidized to step up to the plate and pay the premiums that they should be paying. And we can talk more about where that stands in a minute. But also, the other side is obviously we've had an unusual number of catastrophic storms from Katrina to Sandy throughout the Midwest, et cetera. And the claims have been just incredibly large. And because of that, those two reasons, that's why FEMA is upside down, and the government is trying to correct that.
Okay, and of course that will translate into higher premiums for the people who are needing flood insurance or needing to buy it or wanting to buy it.
Well, in some scenarios drastically higher, and how high it's going to go, nobody is really sure. There's an act that Congress just passed called the BW12 Act, and basically what that said is that the homeowners that have been subsidized over the years, as I mentioned earlier, are going to pay an increase of 25% per year in flood insurance. If it's a vacation home or a business property, they're going to pay that 25% per year compounded for the foreseeable future. Other people who it's their primary home, that's going to be increased by 18% per year for the foreseeable future.
Okay, now that's on a national thing. Rising premiums is one thing. How about on the local level? I know Virginia Pilot did an article here recently.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Well, it was an excellent article, but basically quoting the article, they have stated that there's roughly about 60,000 flood insurance policies in Hampton Roads. And out of that 60,000, about 18% are going to be affected by the BW12 Act. Of that 18%, the largest number is in Norfolk because Norfolk has the older homes and obviously the elevation is the lowest in the area. Virginia Beach is second, and then so on. But all homeowners who are in a flood zone pay a flood insurance, and all the owners of these properties can have a reduced premium, even if you're not one of the part of the 18 or 25%. You can still reduce your flood insurance premiums by making modifications to your home.
Okay, and that's where your company can come in, right? That's where Vent and Save comes in.
Correct.
Is to helping them to protect their home and helping them to reduce their premiums at the same time.
Correct. FEMA, like other branches of the government, offers financial incentives if someone does something that's good for the whole. So, for example, if your city has a bad area, not a great neighborhood, or it's being underutilized from a business perspective, they will offer businesses tax incentives to move to that district. Everybody who's involved in a pension plan realizes the tax benefits they get from being involved in the pension plan. And FEMA is, while they're raising premiums over here, they also feel that if they can, people will modify their property, then it will allow them to experience lower claims from future catastrophes. So they're giving you these financial incentives to modify your house in the form of lower flood insurance premiums. And where Vent and Save comes in is a couple of areas. First of all, the FEMA criteria is not exactly simple. It's the government. So we have on staff certified floodplains managers, and this is a designation offered by FEMA that says that you are in the know concerning how to modify these homes in the correct fashion. So whereas we offer flood vents, the flood vents, there has to be a certain amount of flood vents per cubic foot of crawl space. There has to be, they have to be located in the right area, et cetera. So our certified floodplains managers can design the plan that fits FEMA's criteria, because if you install the vents incorrectly, they won't lower your flood insurance premiums.
Okay, you should basically be wasting your money.
Basically be wasting your money to some extent.
And I imagine that dealing with the government, you would probably use that any savings on psychiatric bills because they drive you nuts.
Well, you know, a lot of people are a little bit intimidated about getting involved in this. Not only is it a construction project on your home, but there's all the FEMA guidelines, there's all the paperwork that has to be filled out, there's all the insurance work that needs to be done. Where Vent and Save, where I really think that we're making a big difference, is we offer a comprehensive turnkey approach so that if you just give us permission to move forward, we'll deal with the surveys if one needs to be done. We'll be dealing with what's called the elevation certificate and all of the data that's on that certificate. We will design the plan that FEMA will approve. And when it's all said and done, we'll take pictures of our work, we'll put all the paperwork together, we'll turn it over to your insurance company so they can then check all the appropriate boxes and lower your flood insurance premium.
So make the whole process easier by dealing with one person.
Correct.
So less finger pointing.
Correct. And the rate of return our experience thus far is very good. In the Virginian pilot story, they quoted a woman who did $3,200 worth of modifications to her home. She basically replaced her air vents with flood vents. There might have been an additional couple put in. And then she raised her HVAC system up off the ground. And her flood insurance premiums went from $2,600 a year to $733 a year, according to the paper.
Huge savings.
Well, and not only that, it's huge when you think about the fact that she's going to have a compound effect of 18%. Well, I certainly would rather have that compound effect on $733 instead of it compounding on $2,600 a year.
Right. Okay. All right. And so who needs to hear about this?
Well, obviously, any property owner, business or homeowner or vacation home owner who is in a flood zone, and you usually know who you are because you're paying the premiums. But also, we've been a lot of help to property casualty insurance agents as well as mortgage bankers and real estate agents. When people are trying to buy a home and they find out at the last minute that their flood insurance premiums are going to be astronomical, they either back away from the deal because they don't want to pay the premiums, or they won't qualify for the loan any longer. So a seller can increase the value of their home and the sellability of their home by being proactive and doing the work in advance, or a buyer can lower the premiums almost immediately. When you go in, you're going to pay the higher premium, but if you get the work done the first month, the savings is retroactive. So you'll only pay for 1 or 2 months the higher premium, and then it'll be set back to where the FEMA guidelines for savings would be.
Okay. And so I think I know why the name Vent and Save. Mm-hmm. But
we turned Vent into an adjective.
Uh-huh. Well, I think it sounds like a really a no-brainer program.
It really is.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't sound like, you know, why you wouldn't want to do that.
Well, the only real objection that we get is sometimes money. And because of that, obviously we take credit cards, but we have established 2 different lending programs within our company. So we offer financing both for people who may have trouble getting financing, and then we have normal and standard financing options as well. So if someone doesn't have the ability to write the check for whatever the work the work is, then we can help them on a payment plan.
Okay, and can you explain a little bit about how the vent works? Because I know when I first spoke to you, I was thinking one thing, but that wasn't it. So
Okay.
explain how a vent actually works.
Well, the vents, they have to be certified by FEMA, and they have to be what is called an engineered flood vent. The engineered flood vent is a vent that helps maintain the pressure underneath the house when water is coming and going. There has to be 1 cubic inch of flood vent for 1 cubic foot of crawl space underneath the house. And they have to be placed, obviously, if you got part of the house is lower than the other, that's extremely important to have them placed in those areas. And that's one of those things I was talking about earlier with the certified floodplains manager. They know where these things need to be placed. Occasionally we have to cut out some brick to put in a vent, or we have to put one in a garage door. But we have various colors of the vents so that we can make it very pleasing to the eye as far as the exterior of the house.
All right, well, my next question says it sounds simple, can anyone do it? But it doesn't sound simple to me now that you've explained it. It sounds like this is something you definitely, I know I would, you definitely would want to have someone do. Does most of the people that you are doing this for elect to have you handle everything?
Well, it seems that that's the direction primarily, but we can do it in a number of different ways. We like to be as flexible as possible. I learned early in my business career not to create objections for doing business with my companies.
Right.
So we can do something as simple as sell you the vents, but then you've got to figure out what are FEMA's guidelines and where do they go and how do they go there. So the second option is you can buy the vents from us as well as the design on where the vents need to go. At that point,
put them in yourself.
Yeah, and then you can put them in yourself or hire another contractor to do it.
Right.
Or the third option is to have us install them. And then finally, the fourth option is the whole turnkey process in which we sell you the vents, we design the plan, we install the plan, and then we do all the paperwork and processing for you.
Okay. All right. Well, that sounds like you got a plan for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
This problem is obviously nationwide, correct? Okay, so do you have any plans for going beyond Hampton Roads? I mean, is this something you know, looking at the Gulf or?
Well, we think that if we can, and so far so good, but if we can build a template here, because Hampton Roads is probably second only to New Orleans as having this problem. As many people know, Norfolk is lower than sea level in many parts of town. Right. So being that the issues are so prevalent in Hampton Roads and we have so much water, so much storm surge, etc., that we feel this is the perfect place to break in this concept and break in this idea. But obviously if it works, there's no reason not to continue to move down the road. Fortunately, between the various aspects of the governments, the cities, the FEMA, etc., we can obtain some really incredibly accurate data as to how many flood insurance policies are in a particular area, what's the average premium of the policies that are in the area. And so when we match a number of different criterias, we can look around the country and see where the greatest needs are, and then figure out how to duplicate the business plan that we're implementing here. So yeah, we want to go big time.
Okay, well that sounds like it's a needed service, or could be a needed service for a lot of people. So if someone is interested in, says, well, this sounds like an interesting idea, I need to have this checked out or see where I stand, do they just give you a call and then you go over it with them?
Well, first of all, if you have any doubts, you can visit FEMA. FEMA has tens of thousands of pages of information out there, and if you Google certain key searches like how do I lower my flood insurance premiums, if you Google that and other things, a lot of FEMA information will come out. Obviously, we make sure that we provide all of our clients with the current FEMA information so that they know that we're speaking straight from FEMA. So I think that's important. But it's funny, I think part of the biggest opportunity, part of the biggest problem with our business is that there's so few people that are paying, there's a lot of people that have flood insurance premiums, but so few of them know that they have options. And so we're just in the process of really working to get the word out that you do have options on lowering your flood insurance premiums. And so that's the big message, is to get that out. Now, our website is ventansave.com. That is currently in its final stages and will be up probably in the next week. And so we're excited about that, and obviously that'll be a resource for people to gain information. There'll be several links on our website to FEMA. So that's there, and then obviously our phone number is 844 Vents for You. So that's
a vanity number, huh?
Yeah, VENTS, the number 4, and you. And you're welcome to call at any time, or anyone is welcome to call at any time, and we'll be glad to answer any questions.
Okay. Do you have anything that you'd like to talk about that I didn't cover?
Well, I think, again, I'd just like to say to the viewers out there that I think it's extremely important that if you know people in a flood zone, if you know of anybody that is struggling with flood insurance premiums, there is a resource out there. And we're excited about the opportunity. I don't want to feel like I'm taking advantage of other people's problems, but we're there to solve the problem. Right. And we're there to enable some people to hold on to their home and other people not to have to sell because they're dissatisfied with the premium levels. There are alternatives, and Vent and Save is one of them.
Okay. All right. Well, if you have a flood problem, and you probably know who you are if you're in a flood zone, then you know that there are options. And if you'd like to explore your options, the contact information for Vent and Save is at the end of this video, and it's also on the bottom of this page. And I'm sure you can give them a call, and they can answer any of the questions. They also have links to lead you to the appropriate place on FEMA and things like that for you to research your situation. So I thank you very much for coming in and being on our program today, and I wish you a great deal of success.
Well, thank you very much. We'll keep you posted.
Okay, thank you.